Okay, so I'm starting my network automation journey and I want to show you a demo of what I've been able to achieve so far. So in this topology, I have my multi-layer switch here, I have my router here, and I have another multi-layer switch here. I'm going to be connecting to my network devices using the Ubuntu uh, workstation here. So let's assume this is where the network administrator is. So let me open my Ubuntu network workstation, just like the way you have your window PC. So I'm using Ubuntu, and on this Ubuntu, I have already installed PyCharm. PyCharm is like a code editor which I'm going to be using for my Python. So let me open. Before I open that, let's see what we have already on the network devices, what has been configured already, in case you want to do this on your own. So I'm going to start all the nodes now. And after starting the node, I will go to my MLS1, which is my multi-layer switch. Okay, let me close this. I think I have some open earlier. Okay, so I've opened my multi-layer switch, which is connected to my PC. And on this multi-layer switch, I have my gateway configured on VLAN 1. So let me confirm that. Show IP interface brief. So as you can see, I have my VLAN 1 configured on IP address 10.0.0.1. So from this PC, I should be able to reach the default gateway, which is VLAN 1. Now, let's try and see if we can ping my PC from here, 10.0.0.2. Yeah, my PC is reachable. And also from here, I should be able to reach my router. My router IP address is 11.0.0.2. That's the default gateway. That is also reachable. So that's the first thing you need to consider. From your workstation to the device you want to connect to, you must have reachability. So I'm assuming that this network administrator is at the location where all these devices are currently, and we want to push our configuration. We want to use Python to check the interface or to configure something. So let's go to the router 2, and let's see what we have there also. So let me check the interface IP addresses. So I have this as my loopback, and I have this as my default gateway, 11.0.0.2, yeah, towards my PC. So having confirmed that, another thing you need to make sure you check is that you must enable SSH. As we all know, SSH is the secured remote way of connecting to your device. Let's say you are not at the location and you want to connect remotely, or even if you're at the location, you are connecting from another place and you want to connect remotely securely, you need SSH. So let's confirm that SSH has been configured on this device. So you can see transport input SSH. So I have that already, and I think I'm good to go. So let me cancel this, or let's just minimize and go to our Ubuntu workstation, which we are going to use to push our config or to check whatever we want to check on the router. So when I open my Ubuntu, you go to menu, then I tap my PyCharm. So if you are using Windows, if you're an administrator, you are not using Linux, you're using Windows, so you can just download PyCharm on your Windows PC, that laptop or desktop, then open the PyCharm. So this is the PyCharm environment, and like I said, PyCharm is a code editor for Python. So before now, I've created two projects. This is the first one, network, and this is the other one, task 2. So this first one, what I did here was to first of all define how I'm going to log into my router. I call this router 2. So if you see from here, I say R2. I'm defining my parameters to log in. But before that, I have already uh, imported Netmiko. I'm using Netmiko to connect SSH into my router. So I issue this command, import Netmiko. After importing Netmiko, then I define the parameters to log into my router. IP address is 11.0.0.2, which is the IP address of this interface earlier, I showed you earlier. So the username has been configured already on my router, Cisco, password Cisco, and device type Cisco IOS. So this is the syntax needed that I've already prepared for my parameters. Now, how do I connect to my router? So this is the command. You say connection equals netmiko.connect handler, then in brackets ** R2. So this R2 means that connect to my router using the parameter that I have already defined for R2, which is A. So Netmiko is going to initiate the connection via this connect handler, and when that connection is initiated, the parameters inside this R2 will be checked, which is IP address. Can I locate this IP? This username and password, is it the same? Then the IOS I'm using. So this is for connectivity. Once I'm able to do this, I can connect to my router. Then after connecting to my router, what am I trying to achieve? So in this place, I'm trying to see my interface. Let's say I want to see my interface. Let me remove this. So if I want to see my interface, the same way we log into the router and you issue the command show IP interface brief. So you say output equals connection dot send underscore command. So this is the command I want to execute, show IP interface brief, and I want to print the output out. So let me check if this is working. I'll maximize that, and I'll click on this. I'll click on this terminal. Okay, so if I click on terminal and I run this code will connect to my router and pull out the interfaces that has IP address or the one without IP. So this is what we usually see when you log into your router and you issue show IP interface brief. You can see my interface that is connected to 11 dots, then 12 dots, the interface that is shut down, and my loopback, IP address, and all that. So that's the first task. I was able to use this Python script in connection with Netmiko library to connect via SSH and check my IP address interface. Then the task 2. Now, the first one is just to retrieve information from my device. If I have another device I want to retrieve information for, I can just add it here. I can define the parameters here. Let's say switch 1, I can just add switch 1. I can add SW1, and I will define the parameters I'm going to use. I will define the parameters like the way I did it earlier, the IP address, the username and password, so as to connect to the switch and execute my command. But I'm not doing that right away. So let me go to task 2. Task 2 is to configure. Now, I don't want to retrieve information, I want to configure. So the same thing I did here, first of all, to import my Netmiko, then define my device parameters, R2 equals to IP address, then don't forget the syntax. This is syntax. You need to define that, and password, username, and device type. So this line is to connect. Like I said earlier, if you say connection equals Netmiko, that means I'm using Netmiko connect handler R2. So I've been able to establish SSH connection. Then output, what am I trying to get? I'm trying to say connection dot send dot config set. So here, if you remove this, you will see several options you can pick. You can say connection dot, maybe I say send. Send. If I want to send just a command, I can choose this. Or if I want to list a set of commands, I can use this. But I want to list everything once, so I use send config set. So that's the one I'm using. So set config set. Then you open your brackets, and inside that bracket, you define everything you want to change. So now I want to change my host name, MSC. Then I want to configure loopback interface. So I specify the interface IP address and the subnet mask. So after that, I can print out the output to see what I have configured. So if I click on run, it will show me. So you can see, just like the same way you log into your router, go to config mode, then you go to interface loopback 0 and put your IP address end, and also change the user the host name. See, he executed the host name first, host name MSC, interface loopback 1, and all that. So this is the starting point. As a network engineer, we're expected to know automation in this time and age, and automation and AI, they are taking place, they are taking shape, and they are finding application in every area of business, and network engineers are also not left behind. So I'll keep on updating my progress. This is just like a first step, installing PyCharm and installing my NetMiko, connecting to my router, showing my interface, and pushing some little commands. So thank you so much for your time. You can drop your comments, and then I will be happy to reply you. Thank you so much.